Now let's see what that looks like. You're live. What's your?
Oh no, Dennis had sent me some stuff earlier.
Why is it not coming up here? Oh, there you go. You're live. Why is it not taking in your thumbnail account? Yep, there you go. We're live.
Just like, oh, it's
All
in
right.
my, okay. When we get to the end, we're gonna read what they're saying that the government is.
So what you want me to do with that?
I'll tell you at the end, just to go to my messages, these messages right here, and we'll go from there. We'll read it off to everybody live, okay?
All right. Hey, Steve-O.
So you need some bombs and.
Hey, Jay Lee.
Oops.
Hey, King.
Have y'all checked out the Spotify? Are we still uploading on Spotify good?
I haven't had time.
Mm-hmm.
Since I've been at home, I don't think I have, but at the office I have.
If you guys hadn't had a chance and you're just fiending for some decent, really good info about the Iraqi dinar, you should reach out there real fast and go to the Spotify and review some of the old accounts to see the things that we talked about coming to fruition right now. Because, you know, we've been quarterbacking like this, like Tom Brady playing for rings. And I will go as far to say this with people. A lot of people will say, hey, look, you know, things haven't happened the way they should have. Well, you know what? Nothing happens the way it should have. If that was the case, I would have told you the date of the reinstatement of 2 or 3 currencies, right?
But you did call the negative oil.
Yeah, I called negative oil. I've called a bunch of stuff that's happened. Like, for real talk. But, I mean, it's nice to see it in print. You know what I'm saying? Like, the things that we study, the things that we tell people, especially our Patreon members, and shout out all my old Patreon, shout out every new Patreon, because we get so many new Patreons every month. Shout them out every month, man. Thank you guys for believing and supporting and doing what you do. And thank you each and every one of you guys that tune out now. We only do it once a week. It's just too much content to put out there. You know what I'm saying? That we just gotta just knock all this news down. So I have to pick and choose. So you know what? I gotta take care of the gang, and I gotta take care of the gang, and I gotta take care of the gang. You know what I'm saying? So everybody gets their feel. Everybody gets a taste. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we got a few more seconds here. We don't get this music jumping. We don't get to making this party set off it right by the theme music, because you know it's the sweetest, most melodious sounds your eardrums, your body has ever heard. But I gotta hit 100 people. You know the rules. We gotta hit 100 people, baby. Come on, let's get to a Hunsky. Hey Mary, hey Bethany, hey Ching Ching Willie. What's up, Shanta? What's up, Wanda? What's up, Art Bishop? There they go, there they go, there they go. Whoop, there go that man again. Breaker Change, Alita, the Reaper, man. What you cooking, Reaper? Nadine. Nadine! Honey, who's our kid? Remember that? Driving along in my automobile.
Yeah.
My baby was silent at the wheel. You don't remember that song?
I do remember that
There
song.
you go.
But what made you bring that song up?
Nadine.
Oh, is that the name?
Yeah, it was a part of the commercial.
Oh.
Nadine is one song, and they skipped to that song. I forgot who sang that song. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Mr. B in the house. Salute a real G.
You kind of got choppers on you. You can sing a little bit.
Oh, man, I can't, bro.
Just a little bit.
A little bit.
I don't want your head to get too big.
Oh, man, both bigger than what it is.
You know, you humble. We need.
Oh, the humble Mr. Brando.
We need him to stay humble.
Who told them that lie?
You did.
Oh, loud. Good Lord. I'm going to post my credit score next.
Stop.
About 700.
Stop.
Don't trick on me.
Stop. Be good. Be humble. Stop.
Game. Ooh, somebody in here cussing. Look at that, Paul. Dang, shout out to King right there, baby. You gonna have me up here. I tell y'all, you gonna have me twerking like a stripper, man. Y'all better stop. Can't get on here all the time, man. Everybody throwing me change, baby. I feel good about this place we in, baby. I feel real good about this. I really, really, really feel good. Man, we had like 99 problems, but ain't one. Can we get one more person? so I kick this live off something proper.
I think you are already there. Yeah, we kicked in commercial mode. Look, you're at 100.
I'm at 100. Okay, there
So
we go.
Go on and go for it.
Let's do this thing. Hold on here.
Come on. You're
No
supposed to be
thanks.
ready.
Man, hold on, man. Hold on. What is going on? I don't understand this.
Daisy's sitting there waiting.
I know,
People
patiently.
waiting.
I know, right? Like, where's the music at? Mr. Brando's tripping.
You slipping on your pimping.
It's not playing. What the hell?
Give me your phone.
Dismiss.
You don't know? It's always there.
It's the first thing that always comes up. I can't get it to play. Hold on.
Is it a sound up?
Yeah, but it ain't playing. Hold on. Oh man, this is conspiracy against the man to stop Mr.
You
Brando
let me know when
from
you
playing
ready.
his theme music. Y'all gonna make me
just keep
mad.
talking to the people while you figure that out. Give it here. Give it here. Over here.
Yeah. Who was that? Who told that? Paul, shout out Paul. Thank you, baby. I hope we got some bombs. Yeah, we got a couple bombs to talk about. We know what we're gonna be doing during
It's on
Ramadan.
silent mode?
Buzzing.
It's like silent mode when I hit this button.
Hmm?
You know I'm not good with Apple products.
Daisy high fiving me.
It's in it's in silent mode. That's what it said when I touched it, but I don't know how to get it out there because I'm not good with the Apple with the bite in it. You know I'm an Android user.
Y'all, we know what we're gonna do.
No, I got you because you know Androids are always on time.
Man.
Guess what? Guess what?
What? Woo! Wherever the blessings come from.
Straight out of Vietnam.
Oh, it's got the run. Woo! Let's get on to the bombs. Let's get on to doing what we know how to do best, which is provide the very best. Shout out TFOSREF1. Thank you, man. Shout out to the king right there. Man, dang, thank y'all. Thank you so much. I ain't gonna ask for no likes. Y'all already doing too much. Bombs away. You know what it is. April is our girl. You doing right, man. Without her, man, be no theme music, no setup, man. My hair probably all messed up, man. Everything. Daisy. Look at Daisy. Pet kitten, man. Article 76. Yeah, everybody thought Article 76 was going to take place. But you know what the funny thing was? Now they're having trouble passing this new dude. So Article 76 funny LOL, but guess what? This dude ain't out the woodwork either. So Jeffrey, LOL, what you talking about? Let's talk about it. What's crazy is right now is that Trucker John says, hi, Daisy. Daisy's now rubbing her face in the carpet. Sorry, Trucker John. She gives you ample respect.
All right.
But what's going on is, you know what? Oh, run it. What's going on is that there's a lot of interesting things going on. Don't forget to share Facebook, Shiloh, for real. When you look at what's going on, because, you know, forget Article 76 for a moment, because Iraqi parliament still could be dissolved if this dude doesn't pass the cabinet. He only has till next week, right? Oh, somebody, what are you doing?
Who is that?
I don't know, but they just gave us $10. I already shouted him out.
Oh, you got Paul though, right?
Yeah, I got Paul too. I got a Paul.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, while you
okay.
was fooling with Android, Vietnam, I was over here taking care of my business.
I was getting the thing.
I'm getting the business. That's why I get the stripper money. You know what I'm saying? The stripper money. Got me twerking. Now.
Who got the theme music on deck? Android.
You supposed to be DJ.
Vietnam.
Man,
Not the Apple with the
come
bite
on,
in it.
man. Come
But I declare. Okay.
Anyway,
All right.
let's get back to the subject at hand.
Go ahead.
But
I'm gonna let you make it.
are you through or you finished?
No cap.
No cap on a Cadillac. But the funny thing about everything is this. So, people stressing, right? People going nuts, right? So, revealed, right, by the Prime Minister designate, Mustafa. I'm not going to call him by his last name. It's much easier for me to say Mustafa, so I'm going to call him Mustafa from here on out. This evening, by his ministerial formation to the Shiite political forces and inform them the selected personalities and hear their reaction. Now, he already told everybody he was going to come up with 3 individuals to come up with each position. Now, I have a pre-list that we got off the internet from Iraq. We're going to read it to you guys so you guys can see who those people are that they think are the front runners. So you're going to get that information beforehand. But you know what? It's funny that he's now going back to those Shiite positions that were so eagerly going to put him in position a couple days ago.
I'll wait.
What's the holdup, man? Because oil, y'all, for the first time in history on Wednesday. Can I get some boom, 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 booms? Sellers actually had to pay buyers to take oil futures in their contracts. Now, the price per barrel of oil fell on Monday and on Tuesday, but it didn't go below zero. On dollars. It's a historic moment. Never happened. You couldn't call that. We called that. We knew that. Bombs away. The price of West Texas Intermediate crude future sells at $8 below zero barrel after U.S. oil lost about 150% of its value. For the first time in history, sellers actually had to pay buyers to take the oil off their hands. Who Iraq sells oil to directly, their biggest buyers buyers are China, India, Japan, Korea, Europe. Let's look at the who's on that list. China's barely reactivated, India's basically shut down, Japan's moving, Korea's kind of moving, and Europe is shut down. So 2 out of the 3 of your major market space are shut down, right? Now, so today, I think it was around 2:15 when I was, really putting the who's who to the report. I went to the WTI. It says Wednesday, crude oil was trading about $14.21. Now, a lot of you are sitting there saying, well, what does that have to do with the price of rice in China? Like, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about here with the Iraqi Dinar. It's everything to do. Because those people that you sell oil to base it off of what we basically said is the oil price here in America's standardized pricing. So guess what? If we're not paying for it, nobody else is paying for it. And at one point this week, it actually, the container that you put oil into, whether it be a barrel or a vessel, cost more than the actual oil was worth itself. That's crazy. That's never happened.
Very much so.
And you think that someone runs their budget. 95% of this country's budget is run off of oil. Get off that wheat. I hate that. There you go. You don't crank it up, crank it up.
I'm going to make you beg for it.
Nah, I'm going to take my phone back and make you work for it.
Go ahead.
Daisy, you can do it.
Nothing. Daisy going to be over here fetching. Go on. Come on with
Now, we knew that there were only a few things that could happen. Iraq's top people that lead inside of privatization and the federalization of the country, all have been talking about, and I'll get into it in a few minutes, I'm going to read it to you, but all of them have been talking about how the dinar is destabilizing against the dollar, and the dollar is taking over the market space. And so guess what? You've either got to stabilize the dinar by doing away with the dollar in the market space, and yeah, guess what? They had auctions. And guess what? Yeah, I'm going to tell you another little secret. They said they're going to start up publicly trading the ISX again on Sunday. But guess what? They've been privately trading the ISX anyway. Give me a bomb on that. Because I didn't buy stock. Well, not me directly. But now they're going to use that fancy NASDAQ system that they've had in their little pocket for all this time. It's going to be all by electronic. It ain't going to be by hand to hand. So if you're going to buy stock on the ISX, guess what? You're going to have to do it by electronic purchase. That is impressive. Because in all of this darkness, some good things are happening. Now, advisor to the Prime Minister announced the preparation of a new draft of the general budget. Isn't it so odd? We already saw the auditors leave. We already saw them draft the budget law several times. Now they're talking about drafting a new budget law. But why? Because it relates to the waste and controlling expenditures, while pointing out the success of the current government and activate it. They gotta activate. See, it's one thing to talk about. It's everybody's talking. Now you gotta actually see all these plans and all these things that you talk about go into actual motion. You're doing all this stuff, now you gotta actually make them implemented. You can't do that without money. Noting that the proposed oil price in this new budget is $30 a barrel. That's way off their high horse of $56 a barrel. Amen to that.
I need you to pause me, please.
Crazy. My lovely co-host. Go on, give yourself a bomb. There you go. My baby. Now, the neat thing about that is, at $56 a barrel, they still weren't able to cover their deficit in that current budget. So at $30 a barrel, guess what?
What?
You still can't pay your bills.
You get a dud. Can't pay your bills.
Sorry, Iraq, you're between the short and curlies and a hard press. Guess what?
What?
First things to go is they're going to start taking away the salaries of the rich, and I'll show you. The previous, according to the chances, they added the fixed price in preparation of the budget will only cover salaries only on a basic level. The purchase of medicines, ration cards, and emergency issues, in addition to other obligations. No fruitfulness, no waste. They're not talking about going out and buying all these people, all these extra stuff. And that the other proposal includes the budget law are setting a fixed ladder with the highest salary seen to all groups, starting from the presidency, so that's the three. The Republic, the ministers, the dependents, the deputy, provided that it be from 5 to 6 million as the highest. So that means Halabusi will get paid the same thing as Bra Salem, the same thing as Mustafa, as the same thing as...
so equal pay.
For all of them, and it will go down from there. Now, it is noted within this agreement that you got to ask yourself, man, so you're making 5 to 6 million, even if you took away the 3 zeros, man, you're still making 600,000 a year. Where does that leave the citizens in the budget? Well, it's interesting that you note that, April, because it was an article that just came out that said, guess what? The Ministry of Planning expected that the poverty rate of the whole country would rise to more than 20% due to the epidemic and current conditions. So now you've got poverty risen. You've got a budget deficit doubly created because now you don't have the money to pay your bills. Because now you're at $30 bills, not 56. What are you going to do to make up that $16 per barrel per day? At what, about 3.6 million? Because you know what? We already talked about this. The people, the Iraqis sent the C team or the D team to negotiate with OPEC, and guess what they did? They messed up and got reduced 30% off the oil production they were supposed to go down there and negotiate 23% for.
They mucked it up.
Now here's the killer though. Inside of the Ministry of Finance, they actually identified there are actually 250,000 people inside of Iraq that receive more than one salary. What?
Oh, you wait? I'll wait.
The budget costs annually more than $18 billion, calling on the House of Representatives to issue a decision to choose the segment with only one salary per person. There are more than 250,000 delegates, according to the International Monetary Fund, who receive more than 2 or 3. Some of each reach to 9, 5, or 9 salaries, knowing that these salaries received exceed $18 billion. The file needs a decision by Parliament for those persons who have more than one salary. So if they simply got rid of the excess salaries, they could lop off an easy $20 billion right there. Iraq faces economic and financial crisis as a result of low oil prices, not to mention a bottling of the negotiations with OPEC. Now that they have reached less than $30 a barrel, with futures not looking to increase for the next few months, Iraq solely relies on revenues of the sale of oil in its public budget. So it gets so bad that now even the central bank's getting involved, and the government is unable to interfere with the central bank's policy and cannot take away any of its saved money. Meaning that even though the GOI wants to raid the coffers of the CBI has the actual availability to say no. Just like when people tell me that Trump has the ability to enact a revaluation of the Iraqi dinar, guess what?
What?
He can't make states reopen. How the hell is he going to operate in another country?
Daisy taking notes.
She should be. I'm preaching service.
She like, well, I'm here for it.
All the tea and all the receipts.
She gonna go on, Daddy.
For real.
She
If
ain't
you
going
can't make the
everywhere.
states, if you can't make states open up, how the hell are you gonna make a country reinstate their currency? I'll wait. I'm critical of every government, whether it be here, China, Vietnam. You do a crappy job, I'm here to criticize you because I vote. I vote, therefore I have the ability to bitch. Now, a lot of y'all think whatever you think, but I'm going to tell you what's real. If I can't make you shut down and therefore you relinquish, now governors are telling you what you're going to do. And guess what? If you're smart, you'll stay at home. You'll ride it out. Better to be foolish and healthy than wealthy and sick. The central bank has maintained the currency exchange rate for the years that has passed, despite political.
Uh-oh. See, everybody was complimenting her, how she was just taking note of your words.
Now you're getting crazy. You about to get kicked out.
She cutting up.
You're about to cut up. Sit down.
Sit.
Sit down. Take notes. I'm about to get to the good part. Despite political and economic fluctuations in the country, and this thing is harmful to the economy of Iraq. And according to experts in the field of economics say that Iraq loses nearly $10 million per day to maintain the current exchange rate. It costs them more money to devalue their currency than it does to actually give it a nominal value. Who knew? We did. Therefore, these parties sought to overthrow the government of Mahdi by all means. Some of them wanted to keep things straight, and another wanted to dominate the central bank so that they alone could enjoy the imports and deprive the rest of the parties of them in preparation of gossiping and ending their existence. So, Amnani, everyone is concerned about the government's effort to change economic policy and raise the value of the exchange rate that Mahdi was seeking to devalue, in which the international factor is added. And most important things go towards the orientation with China. What? That tells you everything you need to know. Listen, overthrow what's been going bad. Stop the gossip. They're gossiping about what they're going to do with the exchange rate. They tell you this in this article. Get prepared because everyone's effort is to secure economic change and raise the value of that exchange. And guess what? Except international factors added. I gotta be internationals added. And go forward with our orientation with China. Now, if we had started to this change with the exchange rate 5 months ago, now they talk about doing it 5 months ago. What? Man, what? Give me this, man. I'm giving me all 5 months ago. We talked about this. What month is this?
Really?
April?
It's my month.
So
April and
December, we were talking about looking for a reinstatement of the Iraqi dinar based upon certain principles and facts that allowed was going through as far as cabinets and things getting done. Now, you know what? Another thing in print. Guess what? I ain't wrong again. They were going to do it in December. I had a good feeling about December, but you know what? Everything just wasn't in place. Now they tell you 5 months ago they wanted to do this. And if they would have done it, the lowest would have only been 10% of the loss of the present time on charges of corruption and treason and eating the food of the poor. And that is the reason for the spread. And perhaps many other charges, some of which are known to you and the embassies and others. That's telling.
What article is that?
Man, I got this mug right here. It's called The Central Bank's Battle That Toppled Government.
There you go, Sylvan.
It was in the Paratha News Agency 155-2020-04-2022. I think differently, I guess. Nobody thinks like me. I'm stupid. Now, the Iraqi Stock Exchange announces the resumption of trading next Sunday. The Iraqi Stock Exchange announced. Now, people are going to go nuts and say, they're doing it on a Sunday. They're doing that so the banks ain't open. Well, guess what, kids? In Texas, the bank that I bank it for my daily check is open on a Sunday. Now, can I buy stocks on a Sunday? I don't think so. But my bank is open. Can I buy currency on a Sunday? I can online. So don't go into some mishap, some misconception of they're opening on a Sunday. It's not a 3-day weekend. What other lie can I dispel? There's nothing going on with that crap, so stop thinking that way. But this Sunday, the Iraqi Stock Exchange, after the recent decisions of the antivirus cell to reduce the ban from 24 hours, meaning they were not allowed to be public for 24 hours, to 11 hours. That's why they're allowing the exchange to be open. That's the only reason. It's a driving economic force. The Board of Governors decided to resume the activity of the stock exchange sessions as of April 26th, the day before your birthday. The brokerage companies will trade the headquarters in Baghdad remotely using an electronic trading system associated with the market. That's the bomb. See, that's the nugget in all of this that you should realize right now. Now they're going to use that fancy little NASDAQ machine that everybody's been talking about for regional trade. It's going to be super interesting to find out how that's going to affect the market on Sunday for their exchange. If it goes up, if it goes down, if it has an increase, because now if you are in that region, you can buy and sell within the market without really human existence. That is interesting. And what's even more interesting is going to be how is that going to play an impact if it goes up, if they think that now they can branch it out because of articles I'm about to read in a few seconds. It says the investor bank in the market space will remain closed until further notice, as well as performance of employees will be 25% with the commitment to wear masks and require preventative measures. So they're going to be there, they're still going to be wearing masks, they're still going to be doing preventative stuff, but guess what? They're going to be actively trading. Reveal the Parliamentary Finance Committee Monday proposes to secure salaries based upon printing of Iraqi currency, as happened under previous regimes. So now Iraq's saying, you know what, we should print some currency. There's a proposal to print Iraqi currency to counter the decline of global oil prices. Remember what they do. It's the same thing we do. When money supply got low and jobs weren't in the market space to create currency flow, they create a stimulus package. They insert currency or checks inside that system. Guess what? We spend money. Same thing Iraq was talking about doing. They said, guess what? Maybe we should print more currency. But guess what? The CBI said no. We're not printing more currency. We have enough currency in existence that we can flow with what we have. Now, economics did say this: how to enhance the value of the Iraqi dinar to make it more reliable and strong. Number one, a reevaluation or a reinstatement of the currency digitally, starting by deleting the zeros from the Iraqi dinar inherited from wars, previous international sanctions, which will reduce the monetary block from 44 trillion to 44 billion dinars numerically and computually. Two, the revaluation of the dinar will be 100 fils instead of 1,000 fils for every dinar. Two, issuing coins of denominations of 1 dinar, 75 fils, 3/4, 50 fils, half debt, 25 feels quarter dinar, 10 dirham, 5 feels pubs, 2 feels, 1 feels 2. It has a long economic use and benefits that are explained, issuing that a 100 dinar category to enhance the numerical value of denominations for large transactions and restricts the amount of packages carrying storage, transportation, and easy arithmetic handling. Meaning that if we go from $1,000 to $100, deletion of the 3 zeros, guess what?
What?
It's much easier for us to count money. And it's less bulky for us to change around or carry around. Now you ain't got to carry around $25 million to go buy something. You can carry around a few loose bills, and they're not talking about reprinting currency. You know what they're talking about doing? An introduction of currency being the Lord knows. See, if I keep saying I'll print currency, pretty soon the Iraqi people say, you know what? This new currency, what is it? The next thing you know, you see $100 bill, less than what you already have right now. You're not surprised. It's not new to you. You've been trained through the what? Paper system. The same way that the media educates the Americans or the Canadians or the Mexicans or Europe or whatever, mainstream media, whether you like it or don't like it, still does tell some form of truth to the people to control them. A new fiscal and monetary policy, an exchange rate, dollar against the dinar, and one price instead of 2 prices. Canceling the opportunity permanently, not temporarily, it says permanently, and causes fatal economic damage and obsolete exchange, including granting the dollar with salaries to employees and limited quality, including agriculture and industrial loans. Meaning that it's cheaper for them to go buy supplies for agriculture in dollars, but they're going to force them to use dinars. Why? Because it's supply times velocity. The more you make them use the dinar, guess what? It gives it intrinsic value. Not only is it value within the country, it gives it value on an international stage. Because why? You're not creating an MCP. You're not artificially suppressing currency. This is written. Activate the digital currency through the Visa and MasterCard system. If they're talking about activating digital and MasterCard, which in any way you want to put it, is a digit or a widget or a dinar is a dinar, is a dollar is a dollar. Guess what? If they're talking about agitating or economically instigating, I should stop. I think my blood pressure's rising.
Oh my. Daisy.
Make it a law to criminalize the competition in buying, selling commodities against the dollar. So even if you had an auction, guess what? If they criminalize the auctions, there's no more MCP in Iraq. That gives it our instant value over anything because that's all you got. New sources support the national economy. In short, instead of crude oil, refiners to fill a local shortage, meaning take care of national first, right? Take care of our refinery shortage, export associated natural gas that is not used eternally, create electricity, support tourism, electricity, which if you have good electricity going through all the provinces, that means tourism can come in. That's another arm of what?
What?
Your portfolio to make money.
Oh, sippy.
And here, for all the people that doubted my existence, that thought I fell off. Woo! Man, baby, I ain't fall off. I just do it once a week. Jug Jones. Thank you, Juggy. Man, I'm telling you, I do this once a week. You know why? Because if I did it 3 times a week, it gives you 3 more times to copy what I'm saying. Don't hate the player. Hate the news. Now, for all my people that really follow this, number 10 is going to actually make you stand up. And Jug, this $10 for you because it's number 10 on 10. Activate the Forex inside of Iraq, inside of all government sectors, oil and gas, and the rest of the private sectors and companies, and establish a Baghdad stock exchange, not just for stock and bonds reporting to regional health, but international specifications. Give full transparency on public and private banks. It will make it more reliable, more resistant to economic volatility. And above all, be consistent, strong, have a stable government. That's why I say I don't care who tells you what about the CBR is independent. The CBR is independent. Well, guess what? Without a strong, stable CBI or GOI, the CBI ain't gonna budge no way, no how. You gonna launch your IPO with no president, no vice president, no secretary? I don't think so. Above all, have an integrated plan that begins with a time frame which does not include a long period of time, meaning now. The last thing I'm going to leave you with before I take all these questions, and I appreciate y'all putting up with my little rant and yelling and all this because this news is just so awesome. I think everybody should be like, what? Dude, if you're not enthused, I don't know what gets you enthused. If you need news daily, go back and watch an old video. It's more accurate than 99% of the stuff it's out there anyway.
Oh, shame.
Say, cap. But you know what? It's not talking about no prophetic knowledge. I don't want to talk about my credit score. Don't want to talk about what's happening in June. I want to talk about what's happening right now inside of Iraq with the IMF, the World Bank, United States negotiations, because guess what? They've been negotiating with Mustafa and the United States coalition because of this whole missile deal. Now, this is the funny part. So the United States has been talking to this new government. And it's my opinion that this guy, because he was the head of the Central Intelligence Agency, has been talking to the United States. This whole missile talk has been a smokescreen for them to really feel out what they're going to do with Russia. Because if you think about it like this, if the United States has the power to not make them buy those missiles, that S-400 deal, and they get them to quit that deal, and they're already moving over to the Patriot system, how's that going to work? You got the Patriot system defending the air bases, the S-40 defending the cities and towns, just so Iraq can say they have an international player. That's not going to work. They're going to have to pick a side.
Mr. Brando, when something financially significant happens at Iraq financial institutions on Sunday, am I getting ready to cash in? That's Nicole.
By the ISX actually operating and using NASDAQ, no. But what you want to see is for 4X to start operating. And you want to see them give intrinsic value to the actual currency and stop with the damn auctions. Because, see, the auctions artificially corrupt the currency. They had an auction today for $144 million, whatever it was, a low number. But still, they're doing that to prop up the economy. They can figure out what they want to do. I don't want them to figure out what they want to do. I need these people that are brilliant in economics for them to take their lead and say, look, there's been articles, we've read them week after week. How many times can I read it? It gets old. I know y'all don't want me here to repeat the same thing. That's why you're here. That's why I don't do the show 3 times a week anymore. There's only so much I can say about the same thing. It's very difficult to look this stuff up and double check it and triple check it to where it's not over and over and over again. But when I see economics different person, saying inside of the country we can raise the value of the currency, we can do away with the auctions, we can do all these things, we can activate tourism, because now we got a natural gas sector inside of the Basra province, and there we can input and get the other province kicked off if we wanted to. They only needed another 1,000 megawatts per day or whatever it was. They get that from the other place, and guess what? You can activate tourism.
But we need a PM.
You gotta have a PM.
We gotta have our cabinet seated.
Gotta have cabinet seated because he's gotta set the damn budget from him to finance, from finance to him to parliament to vote. Goes to the Gazette. Has to happen.
And we gotta pay Kuwait.
Gotta pay Kuwait.
Pay them.
And they've already they talked about not paying them. But there's so many articles that really, and I haven't gone over that with y'all on YouTube a lot, but there's so many more articles that substantiate them paying them than not paying them. Because they're not paying them in dinar. They're paying them in dollars. And those dollar gains were allocated inside the Federal Reserve. They're just sitting there. So they know they gotta pay it. And the IMF had told them the other day, we're not gonna give you a reprieve on paying your bills. Trump told them no. Everybody's gotta pay your bills during this pandemic. That's the neat thing about that. He can't force something, but he can encourage it. And with him saying no because he's got swing vote, it makes them say no. And that means you got to pay your bills. IMF, WB, Kuwait, everybody goes forward. But they're stalling because every time they don't put a PM in place, it's like they're stalling to make this thing happen. Because I don't know why. Because you got to think, if all these guys guys that stole for all these years, I guess the thing that they can't justify is how they have all that money.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's one thing to have $1 trillion in dinar right now. I guess it'd be another thing to have 3 trillion or 300 trillion in dinar. How are you that rich? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's why they're stalling, so that these Christians diversify their own economic platforms. But all that's going to come to a screeching halt. And they've already said they're only suspending activities on Ramadan for a couple hours so they can go to the market and back. The market that's actually helping suspend the actual whole ecosystem of Iraq right now is the domestic market. So they're using their wheat, their barley, they're doing their meats from there. They're not importing anything right now. Everything's on standstill because they can't afford to do it because of what's happening with the sickness.
How do the tiers work? Will the people get paid after the elite? How much left for us?
There's no such thing as elites. Dude, that's bullshit. I have to tell you that, dude. Elites, dude, let me tell you an elite. The king of Saudi Arabia is an elite. When the Iraq goes live, the only way that he'll be able to go exchange before I do is because his bank is open earlier than mine. That's the only difference. Stop your stinking thinking. Dude, all this crap you've been programmed with, stop. The elites, there'll be plenty. If the American governments can print out of nowhere $2 trillion in stimulus, don't you think if they had a currency that we hold inside this country that's worth X plus, that they can fund that stimulus and actually the deficit and probably take care of a few bills on the side? Without gold? It's not difficult, y'all. And I'm not angry, I'm enthused. There's nothing anybody can come up here and tell me that's like, hey, yo, this ain't gonna happen for this reason or that reason. Then I'm gonna tell you, go look at this. And someone says more Iraqi crap, oil's never been this low. We've never been with 3 strikes on the PM. You've never been in this situation in your whole life. You should be looking at this like, dang, this is crazy. And if you're not, put your dinar up. Take a back seat. Watch this once a week, and guess what? You'll be good on the next Wednesday.
Janelle wants to know, is the vote set for April 28th?
They said next Tuesday. That's what they said.
Wasn't it this Tuesday?
It was supposed to be this Tuesday. And that's when I told Patreon, I said, look, it's kind of weird that they ain't voted on the dude. Why you ain't voting? What's wrong? It's weird. Now they're talking about meeting with the Shiite forces. This dude already said, I'm going to put 3 people up for each position. Now, if you want to, go inside of my account, my messenger, and you can read the people he's already recommending for. There you go. And then you could flip to that one. These 2 right here. Flip here. Flip
So
here.
what do you want?
These are the cabinet that Mustafa's recommending.
So you want me to post it somewhere? Or?
You can post it or read it.
I don't know how to say these names. Here.
Okay. What he's saying is, Mustafa is saying for electricity, remember our boy Zafari, the guy that was going to be the last PM? We're going to give him electricity. Foreign affairs, Harry
Robert De
Hassan.
Niro?
Robert De Niro.
Okay.
Higher education, Ibram Bar al-Alam. Finance, food, Faoud Hossein. Justice, Khalid Shawani. Agricultural, Muhammad al-Sudani. Oil, Hashan Saleh Dawood. Remember Dawood? We talked about him once before. Municipalities, Razan Muhammad. Water, Jassim Muhammad al-Asadi. Planning, Khalid Batal. Kadim al-Salani for labor. Hashim al-Shadadi for culture. Interior, be Musafin al-Tamimi. I looked him up earlier. He's been in the news lately, crazy. Education, Mujamin al-Kayate or Falah Muhan Ahmed, or choose between the 2 of them. That's who's recommending is the 18 for him. No, our bucks, the president of the country can't argue the currency. Because actually, if they can't take money to use against the budget, how the heck is he going to make them reinstate the currency? It's kind of like my earlier point. If the president of this country can't make states reinforce to open up, all he can do is suggest. He can't make them do it. inside of their own country, that's called a federated system. That's why federalism is so important. It's called checks and balances. And that's what a lot of people, a president ain't a king. A president's just basically a figurehead to marshal the federalism that's going on. It's a broad stroke at the top and it gets more specific as it goes down, not vice versa. We don't live under a dictatorship. There's no kings.
I had a question for you.
Hope, we're close, honey. I know you're going through some crap and happy birthday, but you know what, sweetie? Sis, you gonna be all right one day. Just hold on.
Will they try to get into reserves to pay the salaries of the employees?
The CBI told them, I read in an article earlier, they're not gonna let them do that.
That was Sammy.
I read it earlier. I'm not trying to be mean to Sammy, but I read that earlier. No, they're not.
Would they reinstate in the middle of Ramadan?
Why not? Money don't stop for nothing. If they're gonna make them work during a holy holiday, don't you think they ought to make them work for something? They worked last Ramadan.
Daisy, stop it.
Hey.
Mr. B, in your humble opinion, do you think we are looking at weeks or months? Because I do believe it's going this year.
Okay, here's the deal with that. You gotta have a PM. And nothing happens to this PM and the cabinet gets placed. Then you're talking, I mean, for me, weeks. If you're talking no PM, every time we start over, it's 30 days. It could be months. You know what I'm saying? I gotta have a PM before I can ever give a countdown to anything. Jeffrey says you have to forgive them, Mr. Brown. There's a number of furus out there telling folks Trump is the kingmaker. Man, you better read the Constitution. Our Amendment 10 tells it all.
Why you say Amendment 10? Now you sounding like Como.
I'm a person who studies the constitutions of several countries because that's what gets me paid. Politics don't get me paid. Being a Republican got me nothing. I've been a Republican my whole life. It got me nothing. Being a Democrat, what's it got me? Zero. I haven't been a Democrat ever. But you know what? Now that I'm looking at this bipartisan bullcrap that's going on, I don't want to be a part of any of it. I want to actually get this money to actually take poor people and rich people and put them together and say, based upon our skill sets, that the government by right is going to have to educate you and get you in a position to get you a better job than what they left you at and create better jobs than what they left you at, because we're going to bring back manufacturing in this country once this happens. I'm not dependent on a stimulus. I am the stimulus.
Jug, we said, he said, what's stopping Iraq from going international? PM, seat in the cabinet, paying Kuwait, right? That's that.
That's that. That should be in your brain etched. Like, you even memorized it.
It's in mine, and I'm a Dom girl. So what's up with the Dom? Anything?
The world's not moving.
Yeah. I mean, I just got to ask that question because people ask.
I'll tell you like this. Let's talk about trade with the Dom because they're exporter. So let's really be technical for a minute, right? So inside of the country, what we were looking for was to cripple Iraq because guess what? There's no storage and no reason to pump excess oil for oil reserves because guess what? It's costing you more money to pump it and hold it than anything else. Now you got to pay your people to actually take it from you. That's a negative, right? Mm-hmm. Well, the opposite is different for Vietnam. Mm-hmm. If the world's not moving, who's buying cell phones? Who's buying high-end TVs? Who's remodeling? Who's buying anything out of Vietnam right now to the degree of that would make Vietnamese Dom move? Nothing. So therefore, there won't be any sanctions against them. So therefore, there won't be any tariffs. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? The world's not moving. That's why I want to see all my people, the people that follow me, that really believe in the movement that we're trying to create and we've been holding of, that look, sit home, sit still, be healthy. If you can hold out as long as you can. Because when you go outside, I want the world to be not only a better place, but a different place because of the currency you got stashed in a little soapbox probably above your bed. That little obscure thing that you forgot about is going to make a big difference in this world. Yeah, and people don't know this, that before China really took over a little earlier than a few years ago, Japan was the second biggest economy to the United States, not China. China's overrun of the economy just happened recently, and it's because of their filthy business practice of undervaluing the currency. So now that we know that's going to be in check, the world's going to have to be different.
Gosh, where did I see that article? It's like I'm always seeing these positive articles about Vietnam. I'm like, come on, let's go.
Man, Vietnam is primed and ready to go, y'all. I can't even tell you how primed they are and ready to go. Vietnam is looking lovely. I can't even stress it to you. They're looking really lovely. You know what I'm saying? They're looking super lovely. Nicole said, preach on. I can preach a sermon again, but you know what? Y'all been listening to me for too long. Jug, why they haven't voted me in? That's my question, dude. Why they keep stalling on my dude? Like, dude, why you keep stalling? You tell him, oh, we'll give him full reign. He can do whatever he wants. Vote anybody you want in. Then they pull it back. Then they pull it back. And then all of a sudden, now you got to go meet with Nouri al-Maliki. That son of a gun should be eradicated from the earth anyway. And then Akeem didn't go in. He should be eradicated from the earth. And then you got Sadr, crimes against humanity. Why do you got to go meet with the most treasonous people of your country to go get a cabinet in place that you know is not going to really include their people? Doesn't make a whole bunch of sense. But you know what? That's Iraq. And that's the way these people do business. And I'm not saying in a negative way, but we know that getting into it. So you know what? I said, play the game, Mustafa. Play the game. Play chess, not checkers. And guess what? Get it over. Because when you're done, I know that you're talking to the Americans. I know you're talking to the United Coalition Forces. Because when you tell me you're trying to get rid of ISIS, you're trying to get rid of the PMU, which is all that group right there, and you're trying to get rid of ISIS. PMU first, and that's the Iranian influence. And that's how I know they're going to be secure the bag for Iraq to be able to go in there and reinstate their currency with confidence and not be scared of these turkeys stealing this money and running off to the sunset, because the American Coalition Force is going to have mass arrests. And that's the only conspiracy theory I buy into is going to make it happen. You can't put, they're talking about putting behind. You can't. It's unconstitutional, Bethany. It's totally unconstitutional.
Oh, Bethany.
Yeah, it makes 0 sense.
Yeah, Janelle said, can they do that, Bethany?
Nah, they can't. It's I've read that several times. It's totally unconstitutional. You gotta. No, Jug, the whole thing about this, if trade is not happening, then how are you generating commerce if you're someone like Vietnam? So Iraq, if oil's not happening, how are you keeping your economic ecosystem flowing? That's the question you got to ask yourself. Because if you're not printing currency and they're not allowing internal borrowing, how are you allowing that day-to-day to go on and on and on? That's the question you got to ask yourself. Do I think the housing bubble will crash? I think as long as people stay out of work and as long as the American political force fools us into thinking that a $1,200 stimulus check is worth a shit, I think, yeah, the housing bubble, because $1,200 won't pay the rent on most good apartments out there. What is your apartment? What is your rent on your apartment? $40? When people in Germany and all these other countries are getting like $7,500, $4,000, $5,000, they're giving you $1,200? And we're applauding that? And we're satisfied with that behavior? Man. It makes you think.
I'm still pissed at what California's proposing. 25% off the rents.
25% off the rent. So what happens to the leaseholder of that said property?
Bingo.
Is the bank going to give you 50% off your mortgage for the time of depreciation so that you don't lose said property? Because that bank don't want the property. They want you to keep paying the bill. Because you know what? That keeps you paying a note, which keeps money flowing. If the bank owns the property, the bank is dead. That's the problem. Don't look for a handout. Look to build an ecosystem.
It's a trickle effect, and all these politicians are looking to get voted in, and they're not thinking big picture. Or keep their jobs, let me say that, not voted in.
And for every person that's telling you to go back to work early, before you should, I challenge them to tell you this. Are you out there taking care of the sick? Are you out there face to face on the front line like a healthcare worker, admitting them in the hospitals? For all that think this is false, go out there and you do the job. Ask Brexit boy from Britain, everybody, Boris, how that worked for him shaking hands. Ask them NBA players that were touching mics. You better praise your lucky stars that you are able to be safe and healthy. Take this opportunity to be mindful and prayerful. Forget my mouth. Think about substance.
Paul said the housing market has not crashed in Canada, but what California is proposing, it's going to crash in California.
Let me tell you like this.
Because I'm going to tell you, I own property in California.
23 million Americans out of work.
Taking 25% off of my rental property, I'm handing it back to the bank because I'm not coming out of pocket.
I'm not
for
going to pay
somebody
no.
else to live nice.
Right.
I'm not doing it.
Think about it if it was your business.
I'm not doing it. Still waiting on the SBA to get back to me. Like, my tenants can't pay the mortgage, and I get it because she's in retail, and I, feel for her for that.
Yeah.
But you tell me to take 25% off the rent. Tell the HOAs, tell the mortgage companies.
Housing was highly convoluted, I would agree. But with the stringent plans they put in force, the thing that I would say that's more of a strand of the economy is the pension plan and healthcare. That's the bubble that needed to burst. And that's the bubble that's going to burst. And so when you guys rush out there with your protests, put me to work, and then guess what? Second wave comes like aliens, and therefore now you're not eligible for certain benefit packages. Guess what? Then you lose your home. Then you're sick.
See,
now you can't work. And that's the shit I don't want to
I see Sharon's comment, but live in a state like California where HOAs is $500 to $1,000. We're not even talking about the mortgage because I own that property since 2005, have not refinanced since Trump's been in office. Hell, probably since Obama was in office. So my thing is this. I got HOAs to pay on that property, right? I got a property manager to pay on that property, right? So if I stop paying those two people and I just pay the mortgage,
you still lose the property.
Then I'm even. But if you tell me to take 25% off my rent for my tenant, come on now. And Cali is high. That's just the cost of sunshine. That's just how it goes.
And here's the crazy thing. And then I'll leave you with this. And I won't preach too much because you know what? This gets old. So I'm not about politics. I'm about saying this. What's fair is fair. So most of you, if your rent is $400 a month and you get a $1,200 stimulus, therefore we know that with stimulus, guess what happens every Thursday when those bills go out? The stock market rises. So they're not buying food like they should. They're not paying for healthcare. You know what they're doing? They're buying in the stock market. They're buying in the commodities markets. They're trying to get rid of, they're trying to think, pragmatically. But you know what? As they stop paying their bills, guess what happens? The bubble's going to get more and more big and more and more big. And sooner or later, everything's got to go bust. And then everything comes tumbling down. I will stop there. You guys, be safe. Even if you don't take this seriously, take your health and your family's health seriously and be wise. Be smart. Be intuitive. Read the news. Don't read headlines. Anybody can read a headline. Read the article. When you read the article and you read a few more, you start to put the puzzle pieces together.
These politicians don't think.
These politicians ain't for you. I keep telling people that.
They not.
Government ain't for you.
They trying to keep their position.
Right. Now I'll tell you this. If you think they for you, if they think you for you.
When banks fold or banks start having issues.
When the banks start having the same problems as the cruise lines, holler at your boy.
Yeah.
Y'all have a good one.
Yeah.
Be safe out there.
Real talk.
Real talk. Be good. Peace. See you next Wednesday.